guys, it's Jessica from ZillaMaybe.com, and I'm here to show you a hairstyle that I actually just learned how to do myself, and I was so excited about the knowledge that I wanted to share with everybody, and that's bumper bangs. Bumper bangs is a very 1940s, 1950s pinup style. You know, they seem kind of complicated if you don't know how to do them, like most things do. But once you figure out the tips and tricks and the things that you really have to make them work, they get a lot easier. So to start, you're gonna need a rat. So my rat is an old stocking. I cut off the foot and I rolled it up tightly, and it's actually the perfect size and shape for the bangs that I want to do. They sell rats. You can make them out of your own hair. Mine's not great because it's white and my hair's not white, and so it's kind of visible if I'm not really careful to make sure that everything is like perfectly tucked and stuff like that. But in a way I think that's not like a bad thing necessarily. If you have to work a little harder to hide it, it does sort of push you to figure out how to do it right. But definitely if you're like just starting out, it's probably going to be easier if you have one that matches your hair color. You're also going to need at least a couple of bobby pins. The ones that I use are like the professional ones that you can get at like Sally Beauty Supply. You can order them off of Amazon. They're just a little bit stiffer and a little bit sturdier than the ones that you get from, you know, the drugstore. So you don't need as many of them to hold a style into place. And then you also need your tools to tease your hair and then to smooth your hair. So I have, this is just like a really old, I think I probably got it for like $1 or $2 at the drugstore, comb. It's got a nice tail, which helps for sectioning, and then it's got really narrow teeth, which are good for the teasing. And then this is just an old boar bristle brush, which actually is like embarrassingly full of hair right now, that I'm going to use to smooth my hair once I've got it teased. So the first thing that you do is you're going to section your hair. So for me, I have fairly thin hair, it's also not very long, and I've got bangs. So if you have super long, super thick hair, you're probably going to just need like a normal like bang section. For me, I actually have to go back almost as far as my crown in order to get enough hair to cover the rat. So I go back as far as seems appropriate, so I'm actually going back fairly far. Like I said, I go back almost as far as my crown. And then I get a section of hair, and this seems good, it's pretty thick. And I comb it to the forward. Then I do the same thing on the other side, and you want it to be pretty symmetrical, especially if it's showing. And also just because like if you have the same amount of hair on both sides, it's going to look a lot more even. Doesn't have to be perfect though, especially if you're using like a scarf or something for your style afterwards, which I am this time. So make sure my sections are nice and even. Alright, yeah, I don't have a mirror out here or anything like that. I don't have a great setup for doing a beauty tutorial, but you know, them's the breaks. Alright, so I've got my hair sectioned, it looks pretty even. So brush everything up straight, and then you start to tease. So just gonna use short, straight downward strokes, and just keep going through the length. Don't have to go all the way to the ends, especially because like you're going to smooth those out a little bit. And so you really want to tease your hair for a few different reasons. One, it gives you enough volume to cover the rat, and two, having the teasing like at the base of your forehead, that's really going to help anchor your bobby pins when you get the rat rolled. So yeah, it looks pretty good. And then take your brush, and you don't want to lose the volume, but you do want to give yourself some smoothness on top, otherwise it just looks really messy. So I'm really cautious about it. I pretty much just lay my brush on the top and then like comb it through really gently. You just want those like top 5 hairs or whatever to be nice and straight and smooth. I'm gonna go back and do a little bit more, just because I could feel the volume kind of deflating a little bit. I was maybe a little aggressive with my smoothing. Alright, so then you take the rat, starting at the ends of your hair. I like to make sure it's pretty well centered. It's like this. and then you start to roll. And rolling can seem kind of tricky just because you do have to have like, I mean, not a ton of manual dexterity, I don't think, but just a little bit. And in my case, because I did my teasing pretty well, my bangs just sort of incorporated themselves into the roll. Sometimes you do have to sort of like work them in, and like you can even use the tail of your comb for that, just sort of smoothing them in like this. But anyway, you roll, you roll, you roll, until it's really tight against the base of your forehead. And yeah, that looks pretty good. Alright, then I take one of my hairpins and you open it up wide and you put it around the rat. So if you have like a store-bought rat, like some of them have like mesh sort of around them, and so that's easier because you're almost going through the rat instead of trying to go around the rat. But we don't need no fancy store-bought rats. Store-bought rats, like I'm gonna like feed them to my snake or something. Then you do it again with the other side. Voila! So yeah, all you really need is 2 if you have nice ones. Okay, maybe 3. Alright, so how do I look? Look right, not too bad though. Alright, so it's nice and smooth. Now all you have to do is sort of bring it around the sides in order to cover the rat on the sides. And you might have to go through and like smooth it here, move some over there, move some over here, whatever. And it'll take a couple of tries to get it right, especially the first time. But that's okay. That's what practice is for. And the more that you do it, the easier it gets. This is actually the 4th time I'm trying to film this, because like I'd get halfway and then I'd realize, oh, I forgot my brush, or oh, my memory card is full. So it seems like it's a lot easier this time around than it was the first time. Alright, digressions aside. So then for this style, I am gonna just make things easy on myself. Gonna pull my hair back into a French twist. Just gonna shove everything under there. And pin it into place. Yeah, I certainly don't present myself as like any sort of hairstyling maestro. But, you know, I think hairstyling is one of those fun things that really anybody can learn. And it's just a good skill to have in your back pocket, because, like, if you can pull, like, a polished hairstyle out, even if the rest of you is looking kind of raggedy, like, you know, oh, it's like that high-low thing. It's intentional. Alright, and then you take your scarf up. And you want to be sort of careful of your bangs, because you can sort of, like, mess them up a little bit if you're not careful here. But anyway, we're tied, and yeah, there we go. Bumper bangs, bum-ba-da-da. Alright, so this is one of my first beauty tutorials that I've ever done. If anybody's interested in seeing something different, I've got a few things in the pipeline. I know a lot of people have said that they don't know how to braid. I know how to braid pretty good. I would actually say I'm a pretty expert braider, so maybe we'll do that next time. Or you know, some fun pseudo braids or something like that for people who don't feel comfortable doing the fancy stuff. So we'll see what the future holds. But thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.